Hello, everybody. I'm Chris Provost, and you are watching Provost Park Pass, and we have a complete breakdown of the Bob Iger town hall meeting he did with all the cast members. But before we do that, can I ask a small ask from you guys? Could you hit that subscribe button and that little bell notification? That way, whenever there's any breaking news, you will be the first to know what's going on. Not only will we tell you what's going on, but I'll break it down step by step what I think it means. So it's easy, nice little digestible bites for you guys to understand what's going on. That'd be awesome. And plus, this coming Wednesday, we're gonna do a whole video on 9 pieces of cool trivia that's happening in Disneyland and Disney California Adventure. So you want to be able to watch that as well. Lastly, after you're done watching this video, put down in the comments down below how you believe this town hall went and what you think was going on there, and let's talk about it. All right, so before I get into this whole breakdown of town hall, I have to tell a little bit about my background. I worked in business for about 20 some odd years, and I had a really good career there. Before I retired, I became this goofy YouTuber, and so I feel like I have a kind of good understanding of what's going on. Here's what happens when you put a new CEO in charge of a large corporation. Number one, that CEO has to make changes. They have to, because if they don't, if they keep the status quo, then the shareholders, the board, and people are like, well, why did we put this guy in here? We just should have kept the old guy. What's the point of this person? But at the same time, if they make too many changes, they alienate their fan base. They could alienate their cast members. They could alienate the shareholders. Like, what's going on? Especially if they're not a good communicator. So they have to be kind of right down the middle. And Bob Iger is the master of that. And I think that that's one of the things that he's so good at doing is making sure that he is moving the needle, but not alienating the audience. Now, as far as a leader goes, the leader of a large corporation, there's 3 things that they really have to focus on. Number 1, they have to focus on their cast members, their employees. That's really important. Number 2, they have to focus on their consumers, or sometimes we say consumers, we're talking about is shareholders. Keep that in mind. And then that's really most CEOs just have to kind of focus on that. But a large corporation like Disney also has to focus on the media side of this. Now, the media is going to give Bob Iger a honeymoon period. They're going to give him about 90 days where they'll be like, hey, what's he trying to do? They're not going to be like going in with guns blazing. But after about 90 days, they're going to be like, hey, are things working? They're not working. So he has a little bit of a grace period, and Bob Iger is highly aware of that. The first thing that Bob Iger has really done is have this town hall. And I think this is for that first thing there. He wants to make sure that the cast members feel good. He's working on the cast members here to let them know. And in this town hall, he came out and talked for a few minutes. And after that, it was right to questions. And people were able to ask questions. And right off the bat, the very first question that was asked him is, hey, are you going to be moving all like these Disney Imagineers from Glendale to Florida? And he responded by saying, hey, yes, I've only been here for a week, and part of that was a little bit of Thanksgiving time. I was spending it with my family, so I haven't digested everything yet. He goes, that is going to be delayed. The move is delayed until 2026. It won't be happening until then. He goes, I need to look at the pros and cons to try to figure out why that was implemented, what was going on at that, and was determined that's a good business decision. It kind of was gracefully deflecting that for kicking that can down the road a little bit. The next question was asked, it was about Apple. They're like, hey, there's a rumor going around they're going to sell it to Apple. And he's like, he goes, anything you probably read is pure speculation. Now, keep in mind, if a large corporation like Apple and Disney were going to do some type of merger or buy, that doesn't happen overnight. That's got to go through. You got to go through the SEC. There's filings have to happen. I mean, it's an intense process. But Bob Iger pretty much dismissed that and says, that's kind of speculation. Don't worry about it. Then the thing that he talked about was how things have changed since he has left as CEO and has come back. And people ask, like, what is the difference? He said when he left as CEO, the most important thing was getting new subscribers on the streaming platform, making sure they're creating new content, and that was really the bottom line that they're focusing on was growth. He says, since that time now, he goes, the board and stock and Wall Street, they are only focusing on the bottom line. That's determining, is the company profitable or not? And he goes, and that has changed since he's come back. He goes, everybody's focusing on profitability, and his job is to make sure that the company becomes profitable again and what he can do with that. That led us into the next 2 questions I thought were interesting. Somebody asked, like, what about the hiring freeze? Bob Chapek put out this thing, is the hiring freeze still in place? And Bob Iger says, currently, it's still being implemented, this hiring freeze, till he has a chance to take a look at it. It's still being implemented. And then that went into the travel restrictions. Is like, are the travel restrictions still in place? He says those are also still being implemented till he has some time to go ahead and take a look at that. Interesting to me, nobody asked him about, what about the layoffs? Nobody asked about that question. Nobody brought that up. It was not discussed at all in the town hall, which I thought was a little interesting. That would have been one of my, that would have been like, first question, but nobody asked that question. So moving on into the next area here is the thing that was asked was, what about politics? How is Disney going to be staying in politics or out of politics? And Bob Iger says, Disney, he doesn't want to mingle into politics. He says that's distracting and it takes time away from other things. But he did say this. He says, I feel that a lot of times what people say is political is not a political thing. He says it's not political on being kind to other people. We want to be kind to other people. And that was his answer on the question that was asked, is Disney going to be mingling into politics like that? He says, there's nothing wrong with being kind to other people. And other than that, he kind of wants to stay out of politics and nothing political with the company. And I thought that was a really good answer, an excellent trained answer. Something Bob Iger is very good at doing is giving an answer that satisfies pretty much everybody. So then this question was finally asked. I think that people are really interested in. Now, keep in mind, Bob Iger is not just working on the parks. He's working on the entertainment side, which is having a little bit of difficulty here. And he's working, all of it, the whole company. He's the CEO. But somebody did ask a question about park reservations. They said, what's going on with park reservations? And I thought he gave the perfect answer as a CEO. I don't think you can give a better answer than this. He said, to be honest with you, he goes, I read about the park reservations. I know there's a lot of negativity about it. He goes, there is some positivity about it. He goes, but I need to sit down with Josh tomorrow and really get an understanding and get his opinion on the park reservation system. I thought that was genius, and I'll tell you why. Josh D'Amaro is in charge of all the parks. Basically, Bob Iger is telling Josh D'Amaro, hey, that's your area. You need to make those decisions, and you got to run with that. So whatever you decide, it's going to be coming from you, Josh, and you'll be making those decisions. He's allowing his people to make decisions and actually run the company, which is what a good leader does. And he also deferred. He's like, hey, I'm not exactly sure about this. We need to talk to Josh tomorrow. So it's going to end up being Josh D'Amaro's decision on what's going to be happening with park reservations. So I thought that was a really good answer, and we'll wait and see what Josh decides on what he actually honestly truly believes. So that's what's going to be happening as well. So the other thing that Bob Iger talked about was that he the question that was asked was, what about CMs? What can CMs do to renew their positivity and optimism within the company? And Bob Iger answered it again. I thought he just hit a home run on this one. He basically says, you don't believe in me. It's like, I'm not going to do that. He goes, but there are two things I want you to believe in. Number one, I want you to believe in yourself. He's like, you need to believe in yourself and know that what you're doing is making a difference. And number two, believe in the company. He goes, you got to believe in the company. He goes, this company's been around 100 years. And he goes, if you take a look at all the companies that have lasted 100 years and are still in the top 10 and still making headways, he goes, there are only two, Disney and Coca-Cola. And he goes, we are going to keep moving forward. He goes, you need to believe in yourself and you need to believe in the company. And he goes, to renew that optimism. And I think that's a sign of an excellent leader, because what he's doing there, he's kind of taking that back and he's like saying, hey, it's not my responsibility here to make all of you happy. He goes, you have to kind of look and figure out how to make yourself happy, and putting the onus back on them. And then he's also saying, but the company is going to try to do everything it can to keep moving forward in an optimistic manner, which I thought was a fantastic answer. Now, I know that some people are like, wait. What about there's other discussions on more? I want to know about park reservations, and what about annual passes, and those things will be coming eventually down the road. But keep in mind, he's going to probably push that down to Josh D'Amaro when he talks about the theme parks, because that's his area of expertise. Bob Iger, he was in a very friendly, upbeat, happy mood here in the town hall, and people seemed to be enjoying the fact that he was talking to everybody there and having a good time. It was kind of a short meeting. I think it was only about 42 minutes or so long, and he just mostly took a lot of questions. So I think it's off to a good start. He's really smart in his business. What he's doing is he's talking about the things I talked about. You got the employees we got to worry about. You got to worry about the consumers, shareholders, and then media. And he right now is very obviously focusing on the cast members. He wants their support, because he knows if he has their support, then the other things are going to be able to come into place much easier. Smart business move on Bob Iger's part. Now, put down in the comments down below what you think about this. What are your expectations? What would you like to see? What's going to be happening? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Put it down in the comments down below, and I'll read all those. And then on Wednesday, we're going to have a whole video come out about some cool trivia about Disneyland and Disney California that you did not know. Thank you guys so much. You're watching Provost Park Pass, and I'm Chris Provost. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.